Michael Buddy Miloyevic was born in Hamilton, Ontario to Nada and John Miloyevic. He was the youngest of 3 children in the household that included sister Yvonne and brother Don. After graduating from the University of Toronto, he decided to utilize his entrepreneurial skills and opened up Bobby's Awesome Eats in the mid-1980s.
Buddy, tell me a little bit about your family back in Serbia and how they decided to come to Canada.
How my parents came to Canada? Oh, okay, my parents came to Canada. My mother was actually, she was living in Yugoslavia, and her family knew, because of her older uncles that were involved with government, knew that there was a war about to break out. So they told her and her mother, which is my grandmother, leave. Get out of the country now. It's your last chance. Take the last boat and get out of the country. And sure enough, they, my parents weren't married at the time. They were both single in Yugoslavia, around from the same area. And my mom got on the last boat with her mother, and off to Canada they went. And sure enough, the war broke out after that. Whereas my father, he got caught in the war, and he had to go through a whole route of escapes and everything else to finally get to Austria, where he got into an American prisoner of war camp. And then from there, his mother, being an American citizen and living in America, sort of helped with the paperwork to get him to Canada. I guess he had a choice of, they were working actually on getting him to come to America, but an opportunity for POWs, if you want to call them, to go to Canada to work on hydro contracts came up first, so he took that. And he came to Canada to work on a hydro contract for a year to pay back the trip and voyage to Canada.
So how was your childhood growing up in Windsor then?
Actually, I was born and raised for the first 5-6 years in Stony Creek, Hamilton. So Windsor was the second place of residence, not the first.
And so how was that then in Windsor? How did you find it growing up, education?
I didn't take my senior education in Windsor. Well, actually, okay, well, I was 5 years old. We moved from, I was born in Stony Creek. We lived in Stony Creek, moved to Windsor, stayed the first year here at my grandmother's house, which is where we're filming at the moment. And then for the, the grade school years, high school years, I went to King Edward and Walkerville, respectively, and then went to University of Toronto. But how did I find those years of education, I guess? Is that the question?
No, in a sense, like how like you have a degree in what, land surveying?
Right,
how does
Bachelor
that,
of Science in Land Surveying. Right.
So how does that parallel with your entrepreneuring business here at Bobby's?
Well, none, no parallel at all. The only thing is that I was able to live a very free lifestyle when I was in the University of Toronto, going to visit all the different restaurants, bars, cake places, etc., etc. And that helped me to sort of conceive all these ideas that I put into this restaurant.
So tell me a little bit about Bubby's.
Bubby's, well, this restaurant is built in my grandmother's house, who we called Bubby, which is a sort of an endearing, affectionate nickname of Bubba, which is Slavic for grandmother. And one thing we didn't know at the time was that Bubby, pronounced Bubby, is the Jewish grandmother as well. So it kind of worked out to be a more than just Slavic form of the word grandmother, which is the idea behind the name, because this is Bubby's house. So that's how the name and the ideas, like I say, from schooling and just visiting all these different places in Toronto, sort of it all came together to form Bubby's here in Windsor. The 3 popular places that were happening in Toronto when I was in school were burger places, cheesecake places, and Frogurt places, all separated and on their own and distinct businesses. But I figured, well, hey, this is Windsor. Let's throw all 3 of them together and see what happens.
So how did you find it at the beginning when you first opened up the business?
Oh, it was extremely hard. It was a lot of work. It was what all my uncles and relatives told me. It's tough. It's hard work. I was here, my sister and myself were the only 2 people here for the first few months working.
What year did you open?
1985. I guess it was the winter of '85. So this is approaching 8 years now. December of '84, January '85. And before that, I spent, as soon as I finished schooling, my grandmother died when I was in my 4th year of university. which was February, I believe it was, February, March. And my mother, being very sentimental, willed the house, but being so sentimental that she wasn't going to sell the house, wanted to keep it in the family, and wondered, well, what's she going to do with the house? So during my last 6 months of schooling, that's when I sort of, like I say, formulated all these ideas. Well, hey, let's open up a restaurant, and we'll try this out, and we'll call it Bubby's, and all the rest of that. I kind of lost my head there. What you were asking now a second ago, but
how in the beginning, how hard?
Oh, how yes, and then when I came to Windsor after I graduated school, I drew the plans for the renovations, and went to City Hall, got all the permits by myself, gutted the place by myself, and then putting it back together again. My father so happened to be off a year from work because he was doing some work at the church, fell through the roof, broke his back. And during his half recovery there of the half year, he was able to help me here put the whole place back together again. And that's, the two of us worked on the place for about another, the whole package of plans and working on the place just before opening was almost 2-year time period. So it was like a long time because we did everything. I gutted the place, like I say, we built the tables, the counters, did the floor, ceiling, walls, wiring, everything. And it was a long haul doing all the work. And, well, then we opened up, and my sister was in between jobs at the time, so lo and behold, that worked out well. I had another family member willing to help me out in business, and the two of us opened the doors to Bubby's, and awfully hard work. We spent here, we'd come in about 9 o'clock in the morning. I would sleep on the floors at nighttime sometimes during the opening, or on tables or whatever in the closet. I wanted to push business to its extremes to see when people would come in. So my idea in the beginning was we'll stay open until 2 o'clock in the morning and see how much clientele we get after the bar, closes up, after the bars close up. So we got here at 9 to start prepping and getting things ready. I would cook and waiter and cash, my sister, and clean, like at nighttime, whereas my sister would do salads, waitress, cash, and dishes. So we traded off. She did dishes while I did cleaning, sort of thing. And so staying here till 2 o'clock in the morning every night meant we closed up somewhere between 3 and 4. And then had to be back here for 9. So it was just awful. So I was calculating it the other day. It was 100 hours of, plus a week.
God.
Yeah, 110 hours a week or something.
So what do you work now?
Less. It depends. Depends where everything drags me, where I have to go, what I have to do. But I like to hang around I'm not here that much anymore. I don't know, it's hard to say. It just depends on if it's a demanding time in the restaurant, then I'm here.
Was there a point that you were thinking, my God, what did I get myself into?
Not really. Actually, that's what I'm thinking now. But no, in the beginning, I was so wrapped up in it. I wasn't married. I was just totally sort of wrapped up with my baby that I conceived, I built, I worked with and stuff like that. It was hard for me in the first 6 months of business. I couldn't walk down the street with a friend and not feel uncomfortable that I should be here. I mean, I would talk with a friend, we'd walk down the street, and we were talking 2 blocks down the road. And I'm standing on the corner getting all jittery and going, I've got to get back, I can't stand on the corner sort of thing. Gladly enough, I'm out of that stage.
Did you have any staff by then?
We had, I think, like 1 or 2 staff. That was about it. We started off just with 1 staff member who was on a government grant program.
Right.
And that was about it. 1 staff member, 1 waitress, and then the 2 of us.
So in the beginning, I believe you won the Southwestern Ontario's Young Entrepreneurs.
A Young Entrepreneur of the Year award.
So how was that?
Great, a real thrill. They called me up and said I was nominated amongst other people that were under the age of 30 that had started their own businesses. And hey, I got it. I mean, it was great. It was wonderful.
Was there any financial reward from that? Or
no,
was it
no
just
financial reward. It was
glory, recognition?
Yeah, recognition, and I think I got a desk office set sort of thing, So hey, that's cool.
That's nice. Yeah, recognition is nice.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the menu you have now, or have you had any changes recently?
Tons of changes. When we first opened, it was kind of a funny scenario when we first opened too, because I was still really working on the place, and as the deadline for as the actual proclaimed grand opening was postponed and postponed and postponed until December, I think it was 3rd or 4th. I said, that's the day no matter what, we're going to open. And still, we hadn't even hooked up the cooking equipment. So never mind trying any recipes or anything else. So it was during that week before the December 3rd, I believe it was, I bought some food and still no cooking equipment. We just kind of played with sauces and salads and a few things like that, never even making up a menu yet.
Oh, wow.
And so then it was that final night, like December the 2nd, I was still doing finishing touches on everything here. And I hooked up the cooking equipment, fell asleep on the floor at about 3, 4 in the morning after my sister and myself sat down on a piece of chalkboard and wrote out 5 items that was going to be the menu. Even though we hadn't cooked any of it yet, that was going to be the menu. So we wrote it out. Like I said, I fell asleep on the floor. She came back in the morning, woke me up, and said, you know, like, we're opening, we have to get it going, sort of thing. And so I got on the floor, made the meat recipe for the first time, and that was it, actually. That's the meat recipe that we still use today.
Oh, isn't that excellent?
And so, I mean, it was really interesting in the beginning like that. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of spur of the moment decisions and just you know.
I think it makes it more fun though when it's more spontaneous.
Sporadic and spontaneous, yeah.
No time to think. So now tell us, what do you have to offer in regard to?
And well, now the menu has sort of extensively expanded. We offer, I think, 13 or 14 different varieties of 3rd-pound burgers. We go 2 3rd-pound burgers, 1-pound burgers, and we have also the Hindenburger, which is a 2-pound burger. And still, I was checking around. I had heard a rumor somebody else in town may have a larger one, but no, Bubby's still has the biggest. So.
That's good to know. And how about your Frogurts? I know you're famous
yes,
for that.
we have frozen yogurt. We do offer 5,461,512 flavor combinations of frozen yogurt, give or take 1 million depending on season.
Is that all?
And now we've doubled it to the double figure because we offer chocolate-based frozen yogurt as well as vanilla.
Oh, wow. So what do you think is the most popular item?
Out of the general menu, or I mean, we offer all kinds of things now. We offer stir fries and chicken, and we have, you know, really expanded the menu out, which was sort of results of doing nothing in the beginning when it was slow and just playing with the food when the cooking equipment was hooked up and we were open for business and standing around here. So that's where we thought of all the ideas and slowly put them into use. What's most popular on the menu, I guess, will still be our burgers, Frogurt, cheesecakes. Sort of zeroes in, and salads and their dressings. It sort of zeroes in on 4 or 5 basic items.
Have any of your patrons come up to and given you suggestions on menu ideas or anything?
Oh yeah. There's one menu item that's on the menu. It's called a Pan Willie. There were 2 kids that used to come in here they were high school teenagers, and they would come in here daily, if not twice daily. And so one day I said, here's this sandwich, try it. And they didn't really offer me the suggestion for the menu item, but I said, name it. So they named it. And we've had all kinds of people helping name items, helping create items, asking for certain things that, lo and behold, show up on the menu sooner or later.
So what's your weirdest concoction?
Probably one of the, like in the beginning, all the high school kids that used to come in, some of the Frogurts they used to order, liverwurst, jalapeno pepper, garlic.
Frogurts?
Yeah, crazy combinations of frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
Tomato. There's one girl that used to come in to order I think it was like a tomato, red cabbage, black ball, and something else. It was just pickle maybe or something.
Appetizing. Very much.
What's good is pickle Oreo.
Pickle Oreo.
Pickle Oreo, surprisingly enough, when combined together, mellow each other out.
Really?
Yeah, it's even actually, just next time you try it, take an Oreo and throw a slab of pickle on top of it, and eat just Oreos and pickles on it. They're good.
Oh. So tell us now a little bit about your involvement in the community, if you have time.
I haven't had too much time. Ever since the business started, I was completely involved here. Like I said, from 9 till almost 4 in the morning, every day of the week. And as that slowly sort of subsided of how many hours I had to spend here, then I started finding a little bit of time for myself, and that's when I think I met my wife, and not at the time obviously, but And so, you know, other things sort of, I guess, took precedence over getting involved with the church.
That's true. Well, now continuing on that, tell us about how you met your wife and the story.
Oh, well, she was looking for a job and was introduced by one of the waiters that was living in the same house. There's a group of people living in the same house. And so she was introduced to me and for the reason of looking for a job, and we got to know each other by her working here.
So, any children?
Nope, not yet. No.
Okay. Well then, I guess good luck, and thank you very much for your time.
Sure, thank you.